Imagine a gardener quietly stepping into his garden at first light. On the surface, the soil is docile and silent, but beneath that silence, thousands of seeds are slowly awakening, taking deep root, preparing for a blossoming that will one day surprise everyone. That garden may seem barren for a while, some may think that nothing is changing. But in fact, the whole movement continues out of sight, in a place known only to the one who planted those seeds. Write 111 in the comments. Now don't just be a spectator, be a part of the story. With your support, we will become a giant family of 5,000 people. Subscribe now, turn on notifications and join us. Because the future of every seed is shaped by the intention of the one who planted it. Imagine a farmer in the early dawn, walking through his fields before the sun has even climbed above the hills. The ground is still and quiet, yet beneath that silence, 1,000 seeds are shifting, stretching their roots, making way for the harvest that will one day surprise everyone. That field might look barren for a season. It might even seem like nothing's happening. But in truth, all the action is under the surface, away from every eye except the one who planted those seeds with purpose. That's how this season of your life feels, a holy undercurrent, something moving beneath the routine, whispering there's more on the horizon than what you've seen. Every sleepless night you've spent wondering, every moment that tugged at your heart when the world told you to settle, every dream that wouldn't go quiet, none of it was wasted. Each one was like a drop of rain, watering something deep, preparing you for the morning when what's hidden finally breaks through. Sometimes the old song just doesn't fit anymore. You wake up one morning and realize what used to comfort you is now too tight. What satisfied you in one season feels empty in the next. Life's melody is changing, and you find yourself catching hints of a brand new chorus. The plans that once felt so sure begin to unravel, not to embarrass you or leave you unprotected, but to pull back the curtain on a bigger story. You're not losing your way, you're making space for the music of a brand new chapter. The world might call it coincidence, but in the language of faith, every delay is actually divine choreography. Nothing about your journey is random. Each moment you spent in quiet waiting, each detour that seemed to take you nowhere, every door that closed without warning, these have all been the gentle rearrangements of a wise and loving hand. While you waited, you were being positioned. While you endured, you were being strengthened. Endurance is not wasted time. It's rehearsal for the breakthrough God already scheduled in your name. Maybe you look around and wonder, is it really my time? Could I actually be the one stepping into this new day? Let this message be your sign. This is the season where the green light flashes and the gate finally opens. You're not an afterthought or a background character. You're the one God has been getting ready, line by line, moment by moment, for a grand unveiling. You may not realize it, but the soil of your life is rich with every tear, every hope, every choice to keep going when quitting seemed easier. The slow, unseen growth is what gives your harvest strength. Seeds planted in faith are never forgotten. Some days you might have felt forgotten, but you were only being sheltered, protected from storms you never knew passed overhead, prepared for a sunlight you couldn't yet imagine. In this new movement, you're not being called to just learn a lesson or check off a box. You're being restored. The whole framework of your being is being renewed to hold the blessings that are on their way. This is not a cosmetic touch-up. It's a deep, foundational rebuilding, making room for a flood of light and purpose that's too heavy for the old scaffolding to carry. So, don't mistake the slow seasons for waste or punishment. The pause was preparation. Every patient moment built muscles you'll need for what's coming next. The discipline to keep showing up, to pray when answers didn't come, to love when it wasn't returned, to believe when evidence said you shouldn't, that's what set you apart. Others might have given up, but you stayed on the path. That persistence wasn't just stubbornness. It was faith in action, and it's about to pay off in a harvest that will make sense of every sacrifice. There are times when the landscape of your life shifts so suddenly, it almost feels like waking up in a new land. Familiar things slip away, new possibilities appear, and for a moment you stand between what was and what will be. Don't be afraid of this shift. The unfamiliar is only the unfamiliar because you haven't lived in it yet. You are being invited into a destiny that stretches beyond anything you have dared to write into your plans. The old is passing away not to leave you empty, but to make room for the fullness that's on the way. Just as a house needs walls knocked down to open up space for light, your world is being restructured for expansion. What felt like an ending is actually a beginning in disguise. The story is being rewritten, not to erase your past, but to frame it in a glory you could never have manufactured alone. If you've ever felt stuck, like you were treading water while others moved ahead, let this encourage you. Sometimes the deepest growth happens when everything on the outside looks still. The roots are spreading wide, tapping into new streams of strength, preparing you to support the weight of new blessing. The best fruit comes from the trees that took time to root deep. Your patience has purpose. Your perseverance is about to bear a kind of fruit that not only feeds you, but everyone around you. This moment, this threshold, is not for the faint of heart, but you are not faint. You are not weak. You're the one chosen for this time because you can handle what's coming. You've been equipped, piece by piece, for a role no one else can fill. Every loss trained your vision. Every closed door redirected your steps. Every not yet built up your strength. There's a richness in you that's about to surprise the world. Like gold refined through pressure and hidden under rock, your breakthrough will astonish not just you, but those who watched you wait with dignity and hope. You didn't come this far just to see the view from the edge. You came to cross over. History's greatest dramas began here. Subscribe to see how it all unfolds. This is your permission to hope again. This is your nudge to dream beyond what you thought possible. The light inside you was never meant to be covered up or crowded out by the ordinary. This new arrangement, this sacred reordering, is the sign that you are about to step into a space where your gifts can shine without apology. Every no you heard in the past was only making way for the yes that's on the horizon. Let the anticipation build. Let the music change. Embrace the space between the last chapter and the next, because what's coming is not just for your benefit. It's for everyone who will be inspired, comforted, and awakened by your testimony. Your journey wasn't just about you surviving. It's about you thriving, lifting others as you rise. You are standing at the gateway of a new season. The plans are shifting, the scenery is changing, and the only thing left to do is take the step. God isn't asking you to figure it all out, just to trust that He's already there, waiting in the next chapter with everything you need. Let hope pull you forward. Let the old melody fade. This is your green light. This is your dawn. Picture an old lantern, tucked away in the attic, waiting for someone to find it and strike the match. It's not the kind of lamp that draws attention when the room is full of light. No, its true beauty reveals itself only when darkness settles and everyone else gives up on finding a way forward. That's when the lantern's glow means the most. Some people are just like that, quiet keepers of hope, carrying a hidden flame that refuses to go out, no matter how long the night drags on. What sets these souls apart isn't loudness or flash. It's a certain warmth, a gentle but insistent stirring inside that says, "Don't settle, there's more." You can't explain it to everyone. Most folks just see what's in front of them. The daily grind, the predictable path, the list of what can and can't be done. But there are those rare hearts who sense something stirring under the surface. While others walk by, satisfied with what is, these chosen ones linger, eyes open and spirit listening for the invitation others overlook. You might be one of them. You might be the person who hears a whisper when the world expects silence. You feel that nudge, subtle, patient, but impossible to shake. It won't let you go through life on autopilot. It's like an inner compass that keeps pointing to hidden treasure, a promise that there's more to discover, more to become, more to receive. You're not chasing the spotlight. Instead, you're tuning your soul to the quiet music that only faith can hear. Opportunities for blessing don't always burst in like fireworks. Sometimes they slip in on tiptoe, an unexpected idea, a sudden sense of peace, a chance to be kind when no one's looking. For those who have trained their hearts to notice, these gentle promptings become doorways into something sacred. The world may not applaud when you take that step, but heaven takes notice. Each yes to the Spirit, each moment you act on what others might call a hunch, becomes a key to a new room in your destiny. Wisdom, like gold dust, is hidden in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered by those who dare to dig beneath the surface. Life has layers, and every time you listen to that nudge, another layer peels away. Sometimes, you'll hear the same message in new ways. A scripture that jumps off the page, a phrase that catches your attention, a dream you can't shake. It's not just chance, it's a signal, custom-made for your journey, asking you to pause, look closer, and say yes all over again. If you're awake to these moments, you'll notice how God weaves wisdom into your days in the simplest places. A conversation at the grocery store, a sunset after a storm, a memory that surfaces out of nowhere, each is an invitation to see deeper and grow stronger. You may find yourself returning to the same lesson more than once, not because you failed, but because there's always more to receive. That's the nature of spiritual growth. The message matures as you do, opening up richer meaning each time your heart is ready. It's easy to overlook the gentle signals, especially when the world is noisy with advice and urgency. But the chosen ones know how to quiet the clamor and listen for the sacred beneath the ordinary. They understand that not every blessing comes wrapped in fireworks. Sometimes, it's a soft opening in the heart, a small door where the light sneaks in. And every time you trust that small invitation, the next one becomes easier to recognize. This quality, the willingness to answer the call that others can't even hear, is rare. It takes courage to step away from the herd and follow a path only faith can see. It's a journey marked not by instant results but by a steady unveiling of blessing and understanding. Every step is a seed, every response a harvest, every pause a chance to gather wisdom that will be needed later on. You might find that people question your choices. They might say you're dreaming, or tell you to be practical, or laugh when you pause to reflect instead of rushing ahead. But deep down, you know the difference between what glitters and what truly shines. Your steps are guided by a conviction that there's a higher plan, a deeper order, and that you're part of a story only heaven could write. There are seasons when these invitations come in rapid succession, when it seems like every day, another door opens, another signal arrives. In other times, the waiting stretches long, and the old flame flickers but never quite goes out. Both seasons have purpose. The quickened times prepare you for leaps of faith. The slower seasons teach you endurance, humility, and how to carry the flame when the world grows cold. Remember, it's not the loudest people who shape history, it's those who can recognize the sacred in the small. It's the lamplighters, the ones who keep their flame alive even when no one's watching, who end up guiding others home when darkness falls. You don't have to prove your calling or justify your sensitivity. The very fact that you notice the invitation is proof that you are the invitation, chosen, set apart, and prepared for things others will never see coming. So don't let discouragement have the last word. The signals will keep returning. The lessons will keep unfolding. Every act of faith, no matter how small, is building the future you've been praying for. Your role isn't to rush or force the blessing. It's to be present, to be ready, to say yes when the sacred moment finds you. The blessing doesn't always arrive with a shout. Sometimes, it comes in the stillness, through the hands of a God who delights in rewarding those who look for him in the quiet. Think of a potter at work, hands steady, clay spinning quietly on the wheel. Before the shape is revealed, there's always a moment when the wheel slows, the room grows still, and every breath is held in anticipation. The clay isn't abandoned, it's being gently prepared for the artist's final touch. That stillness isn't emptiness, it's expectancy. It's a sacred space where nothing is wasted, and the next step is crafted in silence before it's ever seen by the world. That's the same kind of quiet that often surrounds the greatest transformations. You don't realize you're standing at the edge of something new until the usual noise fades away. The hustle and bustle of old routines, the distractions that filled your days, seem to dissolve all at once. At first, it might feel strange or even unsettling, not because something's wrong, but because something bigger is forming just beneath the surface. This hush isn't just the absence of sound. It's like a blanket gently laid over your spirit, calming every anxious thought, reminding you that you don't have to make things happen in your own strength. The world may rush and demand, but the Spirit invites you to slow down, to rest, to let divine timing do what human effort never could. In that quiet, there's a comfort that can't be explained, a sense that even if you can't see what's next, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Sometimes, People confuse the silence for a sign that God has stepped back, that destiny has been delayed, or that the journey has stalled. But in truth, this kind of quiet is a sign that something sacred is being set in place. It's in these moments that heaven leans in close, arranging every detail for your next breakthrough. It's like being backstage before the curtain rises, the stage manager orchestrating every light and cue while the audience waits in eager suspense. In that stillness, your spirit gets recalibrated. What seemed urgent before suddenly feels unnecessary. Worries lose their grip. Old doubts fall away, replaced by a steady confidence that comes not from having all the answers, but from trusting the hands that hold your future. It's in these silent interludes that your inner compass resets, pointing you back to the North Star that's always guided you, faith. This pause is a holy invitation to surrender, not out of defeat, but out of trust. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to stop striving, to let the quiet have its way, to breathe deep and say, I don't have to force my blessing. I'm ready for what's next, even if I can't see it yet. That's how faith becomes a magnet. Not because you did more, but because you dared to be still while heaven did the heavy lifting. Unravel mysteries, one Bible story at a time. Subscribe today. When the world is holding its breath, waiting to see what will happen, know that you're not alone in the waiting room. God is the master architect, drawing up plans that far exceed your wildest dreams. In that silence, every lesson you've learned, every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've shed is being woven together in ways you'll only understand when the unveiling comes. There is a richness in this kind of anticipation. It's the soil where miracles take root. The pause before the answer arrives is not a waste of time, but a sacred preparation. Your life is being aligned with promises you didn't even know you were waiting for. Each day spent in quiet trust is a day closer to seeing those promises bloom in full color. Sometimes, the greatest instruction isn't a shout from the mountaintop, it's a gentle nudge in the heart. The direction for your next step was placed inside you long ago, waiting for you to become quiet enough to hear it. The way forward is not always through loud declarations, but through the patient embrace of stillness. That's where discernment is sharpened, where clarity rises, and where boldness is born not from noise, but from knowing. You're not being forgotten. You're being focused. The world around you may not notice the shift, but you feel it in your bones, the kind of certainty that says, get ready. It's almost time. The waiting room is about to become the birthing room, and all that felt delayed will suddenly make sense. Don't rush the silence. Let it finish its work. The unveiling will be worth every moment spent in the hush. So, if you find yourself in a season where things have gone quiet, don't mistake it for emptiness. Recognize it as a sanctuary, a sacred holding place where your next chapter is being written in invisible ink. Trust the stillness. Welcome it. Because when the time is right, what has been hidden in the quiet will be revealed in the light, and the world will marvel at the masterpiece that was shaped in the secret. It's a lot like watching the tide at the beach. When the water draws way back, leaving the sand exposed and empty, that's not the end, it's just the sea gathering strength for the next great wave. For a moment, it feels like you've been left high and dry. The ground might feel uncertain beneath your feet. But all the while, something deep is pulling together, building up a power you can't see. Before long, the tide rushes in, higher and stronger than before, sweeping you forward to places you never thought you'd stand. Pressure in your life works just the same. The weight, the resistance, the moments that feel almost too much, they're not punishment, they're preparation. Sometimes it takes being stretched and squeezed for your true capacity to come forth. A grape doesn't become wine until it's pressed, an olive doesn't yield oil until it's crushed. You are not being broken, you are being made into something valuable, something lasting. Think about it, gold isn't gold until it's been through the fire. Diamonds are just lumps of coal that held on under pressure. All these trials and challenges aren't roadblocks, they're training grounds. You're being made into someone with staying power, someone who shines not in spite of the pressure, but because of it. There are seasons when life feels heavy, the very air seems thick with things unsaid and burdens unshared. You may wonder if you've taken a wrong turn, missed a cue, or lost your way. But more often than not, this is exactly what it feels like to be right on the verge of a breakthrough. It's like the tension in a bowstring pulled tight, not to snap, but to launch an arrow further than it could ever travel on its own. In these moments, don't curse the discomfort. Don't despise the pressing. This is the holy tension that grows you, stretches you, and gets you ready for what's next. Old attitudes, outgrown relationships, and worn-out routines begin to break away. It might sting as you let go of what used to fit, but you'll look back and see that every crack in the old shell made space for something better. Blessings are often bigger than we first imagine. The shell that protected you in one season will only limit you in the next. God's dreams for you are always larger than your last level of comfort. When you feel everything shifting, it's not to shrink you, it's to make more room. Just like a tree's roots crack through the soil to find deeper water, your spirit is reaching for a wider horizon. Every uncomfortable shift is a divine lesson. Every broken mold is an invitation to something new. If you're hurting, know that pain is not the end of your story. It's the middle, where transformation takes place, where the new shape of your life is formed. It's growing pains, not permanent pain. That heaviness you feel? It's the sign that the foundation is moving to hold something greater. The discomfort? It's your soul stretching for new capacity. The doors that close? They're making space for doors that only open to who you are becoming, not who you were. Sometimes, God allows a season of pressure to show you what you're really made of. You discover faith you didn't know you had, wisdom you never used before, strength that surprises even you. The best gifts are often wrapped in hard lessons. It's in the fire that impurities are burned away. It's under the hammer that iron is shaped. So, if it feels like life is pushing in on every side, don't shrink back. Stand tall. Lift your head. Remind yourself that the bigger the pressure, the greater the promise. This is not the season to run away. It's the season to dig deep, to trust that every squeeze is preparing you for new growth. Every time you survive the pressure, you're getting closer to your destiny. Every time you endure the stretching, you're becoming the vessel that can handle more blessing. The struggles aren't there to suffocate you, they're there to elevate you. Let yourself release what no longer serves you. Old beliefs, tired habits, relationships that drain rather than fill, let them go. God is making room in your life for blessings you haven't even imagined yet. The old patterns must break so the new ones can grow. Like a seed shedding its shell, you're breaking open for new life to begin. The season of growing pains is a holy signpost that change is at hand. You are not meant to fit into the old container anymore. You are called to overflow, to step into a place where abundance replaces anxiety, and where faith builds what fear could never imagine. This is your season to outgrow the old shell and move into the bigger space prepared for you. Don't fear the pressure. Embrace it as proof that you're still alive, still growing, still in the hands of a loving creator who sees your potential even when you can't. The heaviness won't last forever, but the blessings it prepares you for will be worth every moment. Stay patient, stay pliable, stay hopeful. The tide is about to return, and it's bringing more than you ever thought possible. The pressing is almost over, the pouring is about to begin. It's a lot like walking through a quiet garden just before dawn. The world feels empty, dew still fresh on the leaves, and there's nobody else in sight. But that hush isn't loneliness. It's a gentle invitation to listen to the heartbeat of the earth, to find your footing again and remember what it means to simply be. Sometimes, when the noise of life fades, that's when you finally start to hear the voice that matters most. Isolation is rarely something we chase after. It creeps up quietly, often when we least expect it, when the laughter dies down, when the phone stops ringing, when the crowd moves on to somewhere else. It can feel, for a moment, as if you've been left behind. But that solitude is not a sentence, it's a sanctuary. The Father sometimes draws us away from the crowd not to punish, but to protect and prepare. When the familiar voices grow faint and the social calendar empties, a different kind of miracle happens. Your spirit begins to reach for living water deeper than any surface well. The hope you thought was gone is actually springing up in new places, untouched by the old distractions. It's in these private hours that you discover how strong your roots really are, how your joy was never meant to depend on applause or attention, but on a source that's never run dry. Some of the most important journeys in life can't be walked in a group. They require bare feet and an open heart. No map, no cheering section, just you and God walking a path He laid out before you were born. And it's in the quiet that you learn things crowds could never teach. You learn that the measure of real support isn't the size of your circle, but the strength of your anchor. You learn that when every other voice fades, the still, small voice remains. There's a lesson here that many never learn. Separation is not always subtraction. In the mathematics of heaven, sometimes being alone is how you multiply. When you're stripped of every crutch, every distraction, every false comfort, that's when you begin to dig for a faith that can weather any drought. You don't just survive the quiet, you are remade in it. The world may call it being cut off, but in truth, it's an invitation to draw from a deeper well. Those roots that reach for the hidden streams beneath the ground will hold you up when storms shake the earth. You find, over time, that what you thought was abandonment was actually an anointing. The times you felt hidden were the times you were being healed, equipped, and grown in ways you could never see from the surface. Don't be discouraged if your season feels silent. Don't mistake the thinning of the crowd for the absence of purpose. The quiet is a classroom. It's where vision is restored, where dreams long buried begin to breathe again, where courage is born, not from approval, but from knowing whose you are and what you carry inside. The crowd may have moved on, but the call of God remains, more clear and steady than ever before. So let the stillness have its way. Let it teach you the truth that only solitude can reveal, that you are more than the sum of your social connections, more than the affirmation of others. You are grounded in a love that holds you steady no matter who walks in or out of your life. When the world goes quiet, it's your cue to listen closer, to draw nearer, to remember you were never meant to find your identity in the noise. You'll find, as time goes on, that every moment spent alone was never wasted. Each one was an investment in the person you're becoming. A person rooted, resilient, and ready to stand no matter the season. The deeper the roots, the taller the tree, and when the winds of life come, you'll be amazed at how strong you stand, not because of who stood with you, but because of the one who stood within you. So, embrace the garden moments. Cherish the silence. For it's in these sacred spaces that purpose is rekindled, hope is refreshed, and strength is renewed for every step ahead. Sometimes, old obstacles seem to circle back as if testing the strength of what's been built in you. Issues you thought resolved, worries you believed buried, can resurface, not to drag you backwards, but to reveal your progress. Each repeated challenge is an opportunity to meet the old with new tools, to respond in strength rather than fear. Where once you stumbled, now you find steadiness. Where once your voice faltered, now you answer with peace. These moments aren't setbacks, but the gentle proving of a foundation that's finally settled. Every test you face is a spotlight on how far you've come, evidence that the work in the shadows has not been in vain. Freedom is found not in avoiding the past, but in meeting it with a transformed spirit. Victory is confirmed not by a lack of obstacles, but by a new response to their arrival. When the layers peel back and the veils fall away, a new vision emerges from within. There is a kind of clarity that can only be born from honest struggle, a self-recognition that glows from the inside out. All the labels, expectations, and doubts that once held you hostage fall silent. You walk with a new certainty, not because you have all the answers, but because you know you are made with purpose. It's a quiet confidence, an assurance that isn't rattled by opinions or applause. You stop apologizing for your strength and start honoring the gifts that make you stand out. This isn't arrogance. It's the sacred realization that you carry a spark uniquely designed for the world to see. Power isn't something you grasp for, it's the atmosphere you radiate. Peace doesn't always arrive with the absence of struggle. Sometimes, it's the gentle shield that forms right in the middle of the storm. The world may swirl with uncertainty, but deep within, there's an unbreakable stillness. That tranquility is not fragile. It's forged from every trial survived, every promise remembered, every whisper of reassurance in the darkness. It's the fortress that holds you steady when circumstances would otherwise shake you. The outside may be loud, but within, the melody is strong and unwavering. This peace is not the end of battle, it's the beginning of authority. Instead of shrinking back, you remain planted, rooted in the conviction that breakthrough is not just coming. It's already here, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. There comes a time when inspiration becomes instruction, when guidance moves from hints to clarity. Suddenly, direction flows with ease. Nudges once ignored become unmistakable, and decisions that seemed risky now feel inevitable. A new confidence arises, action follows insight, and your choices open doors not just for yourself, but for those connected to your purpose. Each step forward is not only permission for your own expansion but a catalyst for others. You're no longer waiting for someone else to show the way, you've become the signpost. When divine alignment meets human action, the impact multiplies beyond what can be measured. Legacy is born in these moments. Every word, every decision, every risk an offering that outlasts the day. Looking for inspiration and intrigue? Subscribe and start your quest. Emergence isn't about escaping the old. It's about stepping so fully into the new that the past loses its hold. Through waiting and wounding, through refining and restoring, a greater calling takes shape, one that echoes beyond your own lifetime. The season of preparation gives way to a moment of action, and everything you've survived becomes the foundation of the legacy you'll leave. This awakening is not simply survival, it's the launch of a purpose that ripples outward, blessing generations yet to come.